Hello and welcome to my living room. I'm sitting in my chair, which I presume is worth more than most of my college education. I have a very nice carpet and these little tables that look like they belong in a chess set. And check out my speaker system, Bang & Olufsen. It is very stark and not very welcoming, which is why I only have 2 chairs in my living room. But in all seriousness, welcome to Los Angeles, where Acura flew myself and producer Zach behind the camera out to check out something very special. We have not one, but 2 new products. The 2025 Acura MDX, in this case the Type S configuration, and the 2025 Acura MDX in advanced configuration. And in this video, we are going over all the changes. We're talking about some big news on the inside. They fixed the big problem with the MDX, yes! And throughout this video, Zach is gonna pipe in and correct me when I'm wrong about things because his IQ is much higher. Isn't that right, Zach?
Yeah, I appreciate the vote of confidence there, Tommy.
So if you hear that wonderful deep voice and you're wondering, is that God speaking? For my world right now, it is, because he's gonna save my butt. But let's talk about the MDX Type the MDX Advanced trim. So for 2020,
See, just real quick, I didn't have to correct you. You did it yourself there.
Yeah, I did it myself. Now for 2025, the MDX does have some styling changes on the front end. So we have this diamond pentagon grille, but one of the really nice subtle changes is they have eliminated the chrome strip along the top edge, really the leading edge of the hood. So now we've got this waterfall effect as this trim line makes its way down the hood and then simply disappears into nothingness. And then that chrome trim line starts along the edges and kind of accentuates that pentagon. Really an attractive looking design. A lot of the front end kind of motif is the same, so the way these vents are incorporated along the side is very similar. The headlights overall look fairly similar, but there is one noticeable change, which is a nice little change. Right here along the side, we've got this reflector. On the 2024 MDX, this was outlined in chrome. On 2025, it's this little black bit, which just kind of cleans up the side profile a little bit. But overall, still one of the most attractive looking front ends in the luxury SUV category. I think they did a really nice job. But along the side, we've got some more news. So Acura has gone ahead and swapped out the wheel configurations on all but the very basic trim. The MDX has got a new set of wheels. So on this advanced trim, we're rolling on a set of 255/50 R20 Alenza tires by Bridgestone. But this wheel design is pretty cool. So it's a 2-tone look with a gray inner and then a polished outer. We've got these little trim bits in the middle, which I think look quite attractive. But apart from that, it's a pretty subtle refresh to the exterior. A couple of changes here and there. We'll talk about like the taillights on the Type S have a different tint to them, which is really nice. But still, the MDX in this generation, in my opinion, is one of the best looking in class. I think it's angular, it's aggressive, it's got these really purposeful cut lines throughout the side. It's just a very attractive vehicle. And then out back, we're gonna find the 2 exhaust ports, which, by the way, are functional, unlike some German competitors. Now, the exhaust doesn't, of course, take up the whole binnacle here, but it does have that little outlet there in the center, so it is a functional exhaust port. And then we've got that very similar LED signature to the front there, outlined in the taillights with these little streaks to accentuate the depth. So pretty attractive vehicle. This one does have super handling all-wheel drive, although depending on your trimming configuration, a front-wheel drive version is available. And let's talk a little bit more about the engine, transmission, and what makes this vehicle tick. Now, mechanically, the 2025 and the 2024 are going to be very similar. Let me go ahead and pop the hood here. So, under the hood of the standard MDX, you're going to find a 3.5 liter V6, 290 horsepower, 267 pound-feet of torque, and this is a transversely mounted engine. And Zach, I'm going to need your help on the number of gears in the transmission.
10.
10. I knew it. I just wanted to make sure. 10-speed automatic transmission, and the standard MDX is a different tuning than the more sporty Type S, which we'll talk about here in a sec. So, not a ton different on the outside, but things are greatly improved on the inside. Let's go ahead and check it out. Now, this is the advanced trim, and the first thing you might notice in this vehicle are the seats, which are from the outgoing Type S. So they are nicely bolstered. We have kind of this cool diamond stitching in the inside, perforated leather with massage. So it used to be that if you wanted massaging seats in your MDX, you had to step up to that Type S trim, but now you can get it on the standard MDX as well, which is fantastic. I really like this kind of cocoa brown. They also have a new wood, which you can see there, which complements the brown nicely. And the big news is they have a new audio system. So they have gone to a Bang & Olufsen setup, and 19 speaker setup in this MDX, and we'll talk about what the Type S has because it is pretty wild. Now, Zach, if you want to come inside, we got to show them. Alex Dykes is over here, by the way. He's coming into our video. I think he forgot a shot. We took a little of his time, so we're going to let him sneak on in. I think that's fair. So, my biggest issue with the outgoing MDX was the way you interacted with the infotainment system. Down here, there was this little touchpad. It was about the size of a business card, and you use that little touchpad to operate the entire infotainment. And it was really the only way to do that. You had to go and fumble around with it, and it was just a little bit finicky and a little bit of a mess. Well, meet the future of Acura. This is a brand new system which has gone touch sensitive. Check that out. You wanna film, Alex? Look at the artist in action. Auto buyer's guide right there.
It's magnificent.
It is magnificent. He's really good at this. This touchscreen display though really works well. We've got some new and easier to use functions right here on the home screen. So it used to be like a 5-step process to access the ambient lighting. Now it's right there on the home screen, and you can access the ambient lighting, which is very, very cool. Thank you, Zach. Nice.
And you do have several different presets here, so you can make it look like various places in the world.
Yeah, which I like a lot. And then you can always escape home by using that little button there. We also have these little panels on the right side, which is configurable. And my favorite feature on this system is you do have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And what I'm told is cool about this is you can have Apple CarPlay take up just the middle bit there and leave the little access panel on the right, or you can have it take up the majority of the screen and just have the shortcuts on the left. So some configurability there, and it's all wireless, which is fantastic. And then this is now a Google-based system. So we're using a Google map for our navigation, which is just the best. It's got the live traffic awareness. That's where Zach and I are going right there, right into the red in about an hour as we try to make our way to the airport. But it's a fantastic system. You can, program your home, your favorite stops, all are going to be working off the Google algorithm. And I'm told it's 3 years included with the Google navigation system. And of course you have Google Assistant too there, so you can ask Google some questions. This was the right move. The screen is also physically closer to the driver and the passenger, so it's easier to use. Really high definition display. It took Acura, they really, I think, misjudged that little touchpad thing, and this is how it should have been from the start, so I'm glad that we're finally getting a much more usable system, which I'm stoked about. Now the rest of the interior, fully digital instrument cluster. Don't mind the warning lights, it's because the engine's off and we are still in a very early production vehicle. But one of the really cool parts about this vehicle now too is if you have your Google Map going, you can display it as a little panel in the right screen here, which is very, very good. Wow, we gotta go through some of these features. There you go. Okay, so that little Google display panel is there now. Try to get the, yeah, look at that. So you can have your navigation in your cluster as well. One thing which Acura always nails in these vehicles is the steering wheel. I really think they have some of the best steering wheels in the industry. They're the perfect thickness. I really like the quality of the stitching, and the bolstering just feels right. And then even in the non-Type S, we do have paddle shifters there on the back side of the steering wheel. So nice setup here. Across the middle here, we do have our drive mode selector there right down in the center. That's going to change your drive mode from normal, sport, snow, and comfort. We also have physical climate controls, which I always love to see for both temperature as well as heated seats, ventilated seats. And then of course our new massage functionality in this advanced trim, Acura massage seat options there. and you can kind of change some of the force and also some of the feeling of what that massage is going to be like. We do have the push button transmission selector here, and then if we push in on that, that's going to pop up our USB-A and USB-C port there. A little bit too much piano black. It's a fingerprint magnet and also does attract scratches. Volume knob down here, nice little cubby, and then we've got this large and in charge wireless charging tray, dual cup holders, and then here in the center, we've got a little bit more storage there under the first compartment and a lot of storage there under the second, and then USB-C ports there. I'm a little surprised we have USB-A at all, but if you are a fan of USB-A, you're still gonna find it in the MDX. All right, let's check out the rear seat, Zach. Okay, so this is with this seat all the way rearward, and the seat room is a little bit tight for second row occupants, but in a more reasonable riding position. I think you're gonna find really pretty good legroom there, and headroom is decent as well. Even with this huge panoramic sunroof, it works very, very nicely, and we got a lot of great options back here, including a third zone of climate control, air vents, as well as dual USB-Cs, power outlet there, and this, I think that's just a little blank, but pretty decently equipped back here, and a nice flat floor as well. And another nice thing you'll find back here is you actually have some movement forward and aft there with both the outbound seats. So if I actually scoot the seat back, even with this in its most rearward position, that does increase legroom a little bit. And then this does fold down like that. We've got two cup holders back here, nice storage tray. And then to get into the third row, we have a little button down here. That's gonna automatically slide that seat forward. Hop it into the rearmost row, slide it back, hinge back. Headroom is certainly at a compromise for taller passengers at 6 feet tall. I'm running into headroom issues. Space is okay though, width-wise, and we do have cup holders and USB-A charging ports back here. So it's not maybe a full-time third row for adults. It doesn't feel quite as roomy as something like the new Lexus TX, but in a pinch it does work, and this is the spot for kids. And I do like that. That works really well, super fast, hinges right out of the way. All right, let's talk about the trunk space here, Zach. Gonna scoot over here, find a little pad, power lift gate, of course. That's gonna glide open. And what's nice about this vehicle is even though it is a still relatively compact 3-row SUV, you do have good space behind the third row. Those fold down very easily. Pull a lever, push it forward. Yeah, that'll greatly increase your cargo capacity. And then you got a little bit of additional storage there underneath the floor. Under here, I think we're gonna find our jack. Yep, you sure are. And then if we look underneath the actual base of the vehicle, that's where you're gonna find your space saver spare tire. So no, it's not a full-size spare, but at least is a spare tire, which is becoming more and more rare in 2024. All right, let's head over to the Type S, because this is the one that gets me a little bit more excited. So Type S is the performance brand of Acura. It's also typically, at least an MDX, gives you the most features. So this Type S is gonna have some features we're not gonna find on the other MDXs. Let's start with the engine. So the standard one is a 3.5 liter transverse V6. This one is a 3 liter, both of which are turbocharged, but the horsepower goes up to 355 on the Type S, and then 354 pound-feet of torque. So we've got a nice little bump of 65 horsepower by going to the Type S trim. Look, it's not quite like X5M territory where you're dealing with 600 horsepower, but it is a nice boost. I have driven the 24 and older version of this Type S, and it is a fun car to drive. Maybe not quite the flair of like an AMG, but still is a good performer, and I'm excited to get this one out on the road. Type S, similar treatment to the front end, so we are also missing that chrome trim on the top, but then of course Type S does have a unique grille, and we also have that chrome delete, so no chrome grille surround. Nice look. And then these vents on the side for 2025 are accentuated in this piano black finish super shiny. Looks pretty good, kind of compared to the previous gen, makes it look a little bit more aggressive. And then Type S also gets a unique grille insert on the diamond pentagon here. Now there is another spec of MDX called the A spec. And that A spec is going to give you a fairly similar front end design, but you're not going to get that unique Type S treatment there on the grille inserts. Now the wheels, new wheels, like we talked about in the last one, Type S included. This is a unique trim. It's this 5-spoke design with these huge cutouts in the wheel. So you can really see those bright red painted brake calipers hiding in the back there. I think it's a pretty good looking design, 21-inch wheel, wrapped in a Continental Cross contact tire, Type S badging along the side. And then as we make our way to the rear, blacked out all the way. This, by the way, is a new color for 2025. And there's also a new blue. Zach, do you remember the name of this color?
It's called Urban Gray Pearl.
Urban Gray Pearl.
The other color is King in Blue Metallic, and unfortunately that's not here. That one's going to be available on the lesser models, so not the Type S. The Urban Gray Pearl that we're seeing here will be available on the Type S and the Advance package.
Wow, look at Zach coming in hot with his facts. And then out back here, MDX badging, of course, but the way you can differentiate the Type S, these enormous 4 exhaust ports, which just look fantastic. I've always loved that in the Type S products. Really gives this car a unique look. Now the Type S is going to have some differences on the inside as well. So first off, one of the coolest changes are the seat design. So now we have this unique suede insert there on the inside. You'll see it on the bolsters, both on the side and the bottom, along with the shoulders. And now we also have Type S embroidered there in the headrest, which look fantastic. But the big news, the reason I started in this fake living room is because Acura is really proud of their new partnership with Bang & Olufsen. And in this vehicle, you get 31 speakers. 31. So all other Bang & Olufsen type Acuras are going to have the 19 speaker. This MDX Type S, 31. And you even have these little tweeters located there on the A-pillar.
So you have the tweeters there. You obviously have the speakers in the doors. And then you also have tons of speakers in the headliner.
Yeah, unreal. So you've got speakers above the driver and the passenger, second row, and even third row get these built-in roof speakers, which is just wild. Type S also has a couple of different changes in here as well. So different steering wheel, which is even better than the standard MDX, which is already great. I really like the perforated leather. Feels very, very, very nice. We also have a unique Acura 360 safety system in this vehicle. We also have a different radar sensor, wider band of visibility. This is the thing I was missing. Automatic lane changes with 360. We also have revised front camera, so we got some higher quality cameras in this vehicle. Yeah, I am quite excited about that. I think that's a nice addition. Overall, I really think Acura did a good job in this interior. Feels good. Nicely spec'd, like the piano, well, don't like the piano black, but I like the wood trim along the door. That's the word I'm looking for. And then of course the new screen. This is such a big deal. This is really what's the big improvement 2025 compared to the outgoing 2024. It makes this a much more usable vehicle in my mind. Look at the snappiness. Boom! Check that out. That is so much better than the outgoing generation. All right, now let's go ahead and close it up, and we got to talk about some other important things. First of all, fuel economy has not been announced, but the Acura folks are saying it should be pretty similar because mechanically it is the same as the pre-facelift MDX. On sale date, Acura is saying May, so we're just a couple months away. This video is going live in early April, so hopefully next month these are going to start hitting dealerships. And pricing, we don't know. So currently the MDX starts in the low $50,000 range. MDX Type S, mid 70s. There's some trim changes as well. There's a new A-spec with the advanced package, advanced package. And now Type S only comes in advanced. Is that right, Zach?
Correct, yeah. So prior to the 2025 model year, you could get the Type S without the advanced package with the nicer features that entails for a little bit less money, but now you're all in pretty much with the Type S, fully loaded, best performance model that Acura offers.
Yeah, so they're giving you all the full enchilada on the Type S now. So pricing, like I don't expect it to go down, but hopefully we're not going to see that big of an increase for the 2025 model year. And then competition, you've got a huge range of not only German competition, but vehicles like the Lexus TX, which we mentioned. This kind of mid-size 3-row SUV is a very hot segment. I think Acura has some interesting options in this field with vehicles like the Type S, with that new infotainment system and the 31-speaker Bang & Olufsen. It really does seem like a winner to me, and I can't wait to get this thing out on the road to see what it drives like. But Zach, if folks want to read your review, where can they go?
Well, if you want to see all of our 2025 Acura MDX coverage, you can go over to alltfl.com.
Yep.
And then for my write-up specifically, it'll be on tflcar.com.
You got it. And folks, thank you so much for watching this review. Big thank you to Acura for flying us out, and we'll see you on the next one.